Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to bring you a combat overview of the Jedi Guardian class. Jedi Guardian is the advanced class, one of two available for the Jedi Knight. It's hard to really call it the more defensive class, even though I suppose it kind of is, because pretty much everything is hybridized. The way that the skill trees work is a little bit odd in that respect. You say you've got two skill trees, and then there's one shared skill tree, depending on what advanced class you pick. But we're not going to deal with these skills at the moment. I want to show you what combat is like with a level 11 Jedi Guardian. With the Jedi Guardian, what you do get at the start is you get a passive, and then you also get a ability that is very specific to the Jedi Guardian. You'll continue to gain abilities of that sort as you go through. I can show you which ones are specific here. You'll notice that you get various armor proficiencies here. You can equip certain items, like, say, a shield generator in the offhand, which is less common for, say, someone who would be dual-wielding, because you couldn't do that. Heavy armor is available as well, and you get this passive blade turning. In the first 2 seconds of Saber Ward, you get 100% melee and range defense. So basically, you can turn away anything in the first 2 seconds of activating this ability, Saber Ward here. You also get this, which is Sundering Strike. Should be very familiar to many of you that played World of Warcraft and know about Sunder Armor. Pretty much the same thing. It even stacks the same way. So very, very similar. Aside from that, you've got all of these abilities down here. I'm going to show you how they work in combat. You've got a bunch of buffs here that we could very easily use. I'm just going to cast them from here because it's easy enough to do that. Force Might. You got this bonus. Pretty much every class, in fact, has a bonus like this which buffs the party, which is quite useful one way or the other, and those things can stack up and be very, very pleasant indeed. Alrighty then, okay, let's do some combat. So I'm going to demonstrate the skills that you get and the style of combat you can be expecting if you happen to choose this particular class. So generally speaking, the way you'll want to initiate combat with this class is via the Force Leap. This is basically your charge. Force Leap currently at rank 4. I've bound that to the middle mouse button because you're going to be using this quite a lot. It's not exactly the same as charge in World of Warcraft because you can use it within combat. That's fine. You can do that, but you can't charge against targets that are in cover, so that's something you've got to concern yourself with. But it allows you to leap from target to target, gaining some momentum. There are even talents that can actually affect that for you there as well, so it's not particularly difficult. And I have one lightsaber form at the moment. There are more lightsaber forms as you go throughout the game. Alright, so it's leaping in combat right there. Now, you will notice, as you can see, that there are no auto attacks in this game. None. So it doesn't make a blind bit of difference that I'm doing that. Unfortunately, since my droid is killing everything before I get a chance to show you anything, so set him on passive for the moment. Quit it. Stop mucking about. Thank you very much. Leap into combat with this one again, and it's not going to attack at all at the moment. In fact, actually, the aggro has been taken by these security officers here, which is great. That gives me the chance to show you that. So, strike is your basic ability. That's going to build focus down the bottom right here. You can then spend that focus on a variety of attacks. For instance, this one, Slash. Kind of like a heroic strike, does extra damage right there, nice and easy. There's also Master Strike, which I'm not going to show you here because it's a channeled attack, and this guy's pretty much about to die anyway. I can show you on something which has more health, for instance. If I limit to combat and then I can do Master Strike, that's a channeled series of blows, does a lot of damage. So sleep in and then do a Master Strike. As you can see, stabby, stabby. Works very well against stationary targets in terms of the animation. In terms of fighting in PvP, where people are moving around, it has a tendency to look kind of weird, as you've probably seen in some of the videos that I've done. Sundering Strike right there, smack, and he loses armor. So slicing him to pieces is fairly easy. He's not really too concerned about me, because he's got aggro from there anyway. Alright, so there are some more special abilities that you have available that use a large amount of focus and tend to have a cooldown. For instance, this one, Blade Storm. That's going to be that's big AoE damage. We can show you that a bit more when we find another pack that I can attack. There's plenty of packs around in this area, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem to discover. I believe there are some over there who are unmolested. I shall alter their state of being momentarily by removing their hands. You also have Force Sweep there, available with the focus. Focus does decay quite slowly. Let's jump back into combat right here. Now, you've also got a Riposte right there, as you can see. They are hurting the hell out of me at this point. Riposte is the ability just to strike back after properly deflecting or evading a blow, as you can see right there, which is generally fairly easy if you've got Saber Warding up. Now, I'm actually close to dying here. Anyone that told you that you could just slaughter loads and loads of guys wasn't so much lying, but yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds. And this gives me a chance to show you the death system. don't pull too many mobs in this area. These guys are like level 13, so it's kind of tricky, especially if you have a Blade Ward, Saber Ward off cooldown. So you've got two options, really, if you're solo. There's a third option if you happen to have somebody with you. Core Medical Probe will revive you instantly, but there is quite a long cooldown on it that builds up. The first cooldown is about 10 seconds, then it's 30, then it's like a minute, and it continues to stack up. So if you keep dying, you're going to basically suck. So you can get back up and you will actually be cloaked for a time. So it's kind of like EVE Online. You'll be invisible until you decide to attack or until a certain amount of time has passed. You can also return to the med center. That will take you to the nearest medical center. You'll instantly respawn there and have to run back to this area. For the moment, I'm going to use the medical probe. The third option is that one of your guys can revive you. As far as I'm aware, pretty much everyone seems to be able to do that. Every class that I've seen so far has that ability. I don't think it's limited. Alright, so we can just Master Strike this guy if we want. What we should actually do is use a med pack here. There we go, actually give us a little bit of health back. He seems a bit bothered by that, so take him out, no problem at all. And then we can leap in with this guy. You've also got this, the Force Sweep right here. It's a big bit of AoE damage. Also has a stun mechanic in as well. There's quite a lot of abilities which are focused around this works if the target is stunned. In this case, we're not too worried about that. So, we're a little low in health, so we're just going to use Introspection here. Introspection is just a generic ability which allows you to regain all of your HP. Now, for some classes, this also recharges the various energy systems they use. In the case of the Jedi Knight, that's not going to happen because he uses Focus. Focus is built up by fighting, not by not fighting. So that's what that does. Very, very simple. It actually changes on a class-by-class basis, which, on a visual and aesthetic point of view, that's really, really nice. It looks great. For instance, the Bounty Hunter will actually check her weapon systems and things like that, will float around a bit with the jetpack, check the flamethrower. It's pretty awesome. This guy just sort of meditates, which is not quite as awesome, I've got to say. All right, let's use an AoE ability then, shall we? We're just going to have to build up some focus in order to do that. So that should do the trick. Then bam. And then you've got that really good stun right there, as you can see. And then you just clear your way through there, no problem. And you're going to gain quite a lot of momentum as you go from target to target. Simply by using Force Sleep. And as I said, there is a talent which allows you to then use certain abilities for no focus at all, so you gain tons of momentum. And you can just slice your way through as many guys as possible. Needless to say, later on you become somewhat more durable with this class. Not quite that durable yet because I don't have the skills to make that happen. But using Saber Ward at the appropriate time will make you effectively invulnerable for a couple of seconds, then very durable for the few seconds after that. So you can slice and dice your way through quite a lot of different targets and gain a lot of momentum in the process. That momentum is something you can't necessarily get with other classes because of their energy mechanics. With this guy, you can just go on and on and on. You are pretty much the Energizer Bunny. If you try that with a Bounty Hunter, you're going to build up a lot of heat. Then you'll, of course, sink the heat using the heat sink ability. But if you keep spamming those powerful abilities, then you're going to be stuck with the less exciting stuff that doesn't explode and set everybody on fire, which, quite frankly, isn't as good, is it? No, it is not. So that's a basic combat overview for the Jedi Guardian. I'll be looking at the talents in a future video. Well, that should give you a bit of an impression as to how combat will function if you happen to pick this class. And obviously, the Sith Juggernaut is extremely similar in the way that he works as well, to the point where a lot of his abilities are pretty much identical. They do the same, they fulfill the same role, they just do it so in a slightly different way, usually aesthetically. Personally, if I was to give an opinion, I think the Jedi class is, well, at least the Jedi Knight anyway, is one of the least interesting to me. Mostly because, it's actually because of this, funnily enough. This is my black and yellow saber using a pre-order crystal to alter the color here, which is kind of neat. There's a lot of different saber colors you can have. As you can see, a black-yellow color crystal. However, the problem I've got with the combat with the Jedi Guardian is the way that the lightsaber actually operates. I have difficulty dealing with lightsaber combat when lightsabers aren't chopping people into tiny little kibbles. And a lot of games that do lightsabers in the sense of this is either a club that you beat someone to death with or just a normal sword, as far as I'm concerned, they're not really doing it right. This is a real problem in this game as well, because you can beat on seemingly normal guys. I mean, we can have a look over here, and of course there will be some kind of lore nonsense to explain why this is okay, but his head should be off by now. I mean, really, what exactly has stopped him? It's not even actually deflecting off a shield, which does bother me. Hell, even Star Trek Online got that right, whereby if you were taking phaser hits on the ground, you were able to do so because of a personal shield. Your personal shield goes down, you're in trouble. You know, you're in a lot of trouble, and you tend to die very fast. These guys, well, you can just beat on them with it. As far as I'm concerned, the lightsaber is treated more like a wiffle bat than anything else. And as a result, I find that somewhat immersion breaking. I don't really like it all that much. A lot of people will say, oh, it's lightsabers, it's great. But honestly, compared to the Bounty Hunter combat, which is extremely explosive, I am not so much of a fan. I mean, with the Bounty Hunter using flamethrowers, explosive darts, and things like that, people are flying backwards and explosions, rockets flying everywhere. That is a really good combat system, in my opinion. The Imperial Agent's pretty good in that regard as well, but lightsaber-wielding classes, not so much, in my opinion. It's very much personal preference, but as far as I'm concerned, it just isn't quite as fun as I would hope. No doubt a lot of people will disagree with me on that one, and you know what? That's fine. I have no problem with that. If you enjoy this kind of combat, then that's good. It's just, it's not for me. It's not combat that I will personally be choosing. If I decide to choose a Jedi or a Sith class at a later date, I'll most likely do a casting-focused one and not a lightsaber-focused one. It's really as simple as that, folks. It's just personal preference there. I'm gonna end up dying again here, aren't I? Yes, I am. There you go. And there's the cooldown. 2 minutes. It will punish you, folks, if you screw around a little bit too much in this game. And you are not invulnerable. But there you go, folks. An overview of the Jedi Guardian combat at level 11. Bear in mind, of course, it gets a lot more complex as you go through, but that is the sort of combat you'll be expecting after playing for probably about, well, getting to level 11. Depends how long you really decide to spend on the story and side stuff, but maybe 6 or 7 hours will get you there. And then you will be able to experience combat like this, and obviously building up to that, it's going to be fairly similar. Leaping in, using focus, generating focus with your number 1 key, and then spending it with a variety of different attacks. Those are the mechanics. That's how Jedi Guardian works at lower level. My name has been TotalBiscuit. I will be bringing you more of these videos as I'm able to bring more classes to level 10, and I will see you next time.